Hold on. Before you rush out to buy the new iPhone 17, there is something you absolutely need to know about the iPhone 17e that Apple doesn't want to advertise. This budget-friendly iPhone is coming with some serious compromises, but it also has some unexpected surprises that might actually make it the smartest purchase of 2026. Stick around because what I'm about to reveal could save you hundreds of dollars or help you avoid a massive mistake. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The display. The iPhone 17e is keeping that old-school 60 Hz refresh rate. Yes, you heard that right. In 2026, when even budget Android phones are rocking 120 Hz displays, Apple is still sticking with 60 Hz on their more affordable iPhone. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like a deal breaker. But hold that thought because there is more to this story than meets the eye. Here is the thing about refresh rates that most people don't understand. A 120 Hz display means your screen refreshes 120 times per second. This makes scrolling smoother and animations more fluid. It is genuinely a better experience. But here is the reality check. 60 Hz has been the standard for decades. If you are currently using a phone with a 60 Hz display, you won't feel like you're missing out. You are already used to it. It is only when you switch from 120 Hz back to 60 Hz that you notice the difference. Your eyes get spoiled by that buttery smooth scrolling. Going back feels like watching a slideshow. But let's be honest. Apple knows exactly what they are doing. They are not skipping 120 Hz because they can't afford it. They are doing it to create a clear distinction between their budget model and their premium flagships. It is a strategic move to protect their profit margins. Think about it. If the iPhone 17e had everything the regular iPhone 17 has at a lower price, why would anyone buy the expensive one? Apple is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Now, before you write off the iPhone 17e completely, let me tell you about the silver lining. This phone is actually incredibly interesting. According to reliable sources like Digital Chat Station, the iPhone 17e is getting some major upgrades. First up is the dynamic island. That little pill-shaped cutout from the iPhone 14 Pro is finally coming to the budget model. This is huge. The previous iPhone 16e still had that outdated notch from 2017. The dynamic island makes the phone look significantly more modern and premium. It is also functional. It gives you quick access to music, timers, and navigation. It integrates perfectly with Face ID, which is also confirmed for this model. You are getting advanced facial recognition on a budget phone. That is pretty remarkable. But here is where things get really interesting. The chipset. The iPhone 17e is reportedly getting the A19 chip. Let that sink in. The previous model had the A18, but now Apple is bumping the budget model up to the same processor as the base iPhone 17. This means you are getting flagship-level performance in a budget package. We are talking about a chip that can handle intensive gaming and advanced photo processing without breaking a sweat. This is where Apple is actually being generous. The A19 chip puts the iPhone 17e on par with phones that cost much more. You get the same computational photography and the same ability to run the latest iOS updates for years to come. This is not a light processor. This is the real deal. So while you might miss that 120 Hz smoothness, you are not missing out on raw power. Let's talk about the display size. It is staying at 6.1 inches. Some might be disappointed, but 6.1 inches is the sweet spot. It is big enough to enjoy content, but small enough to use with one hand. It fits perfectly in your pocket. Apple clearly found that this size works for the majority of customers. If it isn't broken, don't fix it. The real question is the price. Apple hasn't announced it yet, but we can make educated guesses. The iPhone 16e was a sleeper hit because it gave people an entry point into the Apple ecosystem without a massive price tag. The iPhone 17e will likely follow the same path. There is a massive market of people who want an iPhone but won't pay flagship prices. They want iOS and the build quality. They want the ecosystem integration with their MacBooks and Apple Watches. They are willing to make some compromises, and Apple is meeting them there. The timing is also important. Rumors suggest the iPhone 17e will launch in early 2026, likely February or March. We are already in mid-January, so you might only have to wait a few weeks. So, who should buy this phone? If you are using an older iPhone like the 11, 12, or 13, the 17e will feel like a massive upgrade. You get a modern design, a faster processor, and better cameras. You aren't losing anything you currently have, but you are gaining a lot. This is a smart upgrade path. If you are switching from a mid-range Android, the 17e offers great value. You get the polish of iOS and the security of Face ID. However, if you are currently using a Pro model with promotion, switching to the 17e will feel like a downgrade. That smooth scrolling is addictive. Unless you really need to save money, stick with a 120Hz model. We also have to look at the bigger picture. Phone prices are climbing every year. We are facing a RAM shortage that is driving costs even higher. In this context, the iPhone 17e becomes very attractive. It is Apple's answer to the affordability crisis. It might be one of the last chances to get a new iPhone at a reasonable price. Think about what you actually do on your phone. Most people just use social media, messaging, and photos. Do you really need 120Hz for that? It is nice, but not essential. The A19 chip is essential. It determines how fast apps open and how long your phone stays relevant. Apple is prioritizing power over polish. Face ID is also a big deal. Budget phones often cut corners on security, but Apple isn't doing that here. You get the same secure unlocking as the flagships. In a world where your phone holds your whole digital life, security is a necessity. Finally, let's talk about the perception factor. People worry that a budget iPhone looks cheap. With the dynamic island, the 17e will look virtually identical to the expensive models from the front. Nobody will know you are using the budget version. My final verdict is that the iPhone 17e offers genuine value. Yes, the 60Hz display is disappointing for 2026. Apple probably should have used a 90Hz panel. But when you look at the whole package, the A19 chip, dynamic island, Face ID, and Apple's software support, this phone is a winner. It isn't perfect, but it doesn't need to be. It just needs to be good enough for most people at a price that doesn't hurt. The market is obsessed with specs, but real-world usability is what matters. The iPhone 17e will serve most users perfectly for years. Sometimes the smartest financial decision isn't buying the best phone. It is buying the phone that meets your needs without wasting money on features you won't use. In my opinion, this is the most practical iPhone Apple has released in years. It gives you the brain of a flagship with the body of a classic. If you don't care about ultra-smooth scrolling, this is the best deal you will find. If you liked the video, please subscribe to the channel. Share the video with your friends and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update on the latest tech. Your support helps me keep making these honest deep dives. Thanks for watching.